Hi, welcome to another day at the TrakShak. Today I'd like to continue where I left off, and that is with bass sounds. I will be working today with the Gig Performer 3 from Plugin Alliance, and I want to show how I got my Geddy sound. So to explain, this is the Gig Performer 3, the full version. The full version allows me to use all VST and AU plugins instead of just Plugin Alliance plugins only, which is in the limited version. And to show you what I got going on here, I have my audio interface. This is my input. I'm going into this plugin first. That's my 90s rock bass in the Easy Mix plugin, which is feeding into the Ampeg B15N, exactly set up as in the last video, the preset 1, or the default preset if you want to call it that. Again, power soak is turned down a bit so it doesn't get too loud. This is going into a 4-channel, or in this case, a 2-channel mono mixer, where I have my direct signal that we'll hear in a minute, and my amp sound. And my amp sound still sounds like this. And that's a pretty cool sound. And sometimes you might want to have your direct signal mixed in. A lot of people like that to get a little bit more attack, a bit more hi-fi, some very, very deep bottom. There's many ways you can use it. And in this instance, because we're using it in real time, there is also no delay compensation. So that's got to be taken care of as well. So I have here my SSL plugin that I'm using for my DI. I'm going to mute the amp and turn on this DI signal. This is my DI signal. I have here a little bit of low cut, a little bit of high cut. I have a tiny bit of compression going on. I have some EQ going on. I'm just boosting around 2 or 3 dBs at 4K. I've also taken out a little bit around 5 point something. Actually quite a bit at a narrow, relatively narrow bandwidth. And on a bell curve, I've taken up around 60 to 70, just a tiny bit. What's also quite cool about these Plugin Alliance plugins is that a lot of them have this THD, Total Harmonic Distortion addition that gives you a little bit more saturation. I think it puts a little bit more weight on it. And this is how the direct signal of the bass sounds processed. Deep, deep lows, good attack. Now, if I open my little mixing board, my tiny mixing board, you see here, this is my direct signal. This is my amp signal again. Now, if I add a little bit of direct signal to it, you'll hear it gets a little bit closer, a little bit more hi-fi. Now, there's something very, very crucial to remember. This is something you might have to do also in the real world, not just in the plugin world, because if you have an amplifier with a microphone in front of it, there's going to be a tiny bit of latency. Not because of digital world. In the real world, there is air and time between when the signal comes out of the speaker and hits the mic. And then sometimes we have to delay the direct signal to fit to this mic signal. And we're talking really milliseconds, just 0.0 milliseconds. In this case, because this is in real time, and I have a plugin A that has a little bit of latency, and then a plugin B that's introducing a bit of latency, I have to somehow make this direct signal match the latency of these two. And I'm doing that with this in-phase plugin. I'm not going to get into details with this thing now because Wave has so many great tutorial videos on their homepage. And just to explain, this here is my mic signal and this is my DI signal, and I had to match these two signals together. And to do this, I had to effectively delay my direct signal 2.12 milliseconds. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, and it isn't a lot, but just listen to the difference. So this is with the delay activated. Now if I bypass it, listen to it. It gets a bit hollow and there's a strange honk. Turn it back on. It's got that power. So now we have a delayed DI signal that matches the latency of the amplifier section here. Now, how much I use of either source is up to me. I can do what I want. Usually, not always, I am using mostly amp and maybe 50% to 60% DI. Sometimes even less. That's basically nothing, but around here. In this case, I'm going to give it a little bit more. So let's give it a shot trying to play to a song. In Gig Performer, we have a little device that I've patched into the main output, and it's an audiophile player, and it's real simple. You can put your songs in there. You can give them separate outputs if you want. I just have one song, and I'm going to play to this song, which is called Tom's Lawyer, not to be confused with a song from Rush. And this is what it sounds like. Alright guys, that's how I get my Geddy Lee sound. I hope this video is a little bit insightful, and if you have any questions or comments, leave it below as usual. Until next time, take care.